The rights of the child, relationships, responsive care and respect are the 4 key principles within the pre-birth to 3 guidance. Each of these 4 principles are interrelated and interdependent. This section looks at responsive care. Babies' brains are very busy trying to make sense of the world. Our responses let them know that the significant adults in their lives are consistent and can be trusted to respond to their needs. As a result of responsive care and lots of physical contact, babies develop trust and are more likely to feel secure within themselves. Responsive care means knowing and accepting each child and respecting each child as an individual. Establishing responsive care is key to ensuring effective practice with young children and their families.
As a staff team, we have to always ensure that we're aware of children's needs, even our very youngest children who are not able to express that to us. So that all really comes from having relationships. Relationships are key to that. Prior to the children starting in nursery, we would go and visit them at home, so it's the first opportunity to establish a relationship with the child. It also gives us an opportunity to speak with the parent and find out a little bit about the child, you know, what stage are they at in all their areas of development, but maybe particularly for communication and language in this instance, you know, what do they do if they want a drink, what do they do here, so we're sharing that information. Then when the child comes into the nursery, we would spend a lot of time just getting to know the child, getting to know them as a little individual, so that then we are able to tune into what they're telling us to do. The children will use a lot of strategies, a wee smile or a wee facial expression that we have become familiar with, that allows us to know that the children, you know, that they maybe want a wee story, maybe want a wee time with you, a wee cuddle on your knee, or they'll just come up and sit themselves down with a book, you know, things like that, that they'll do that. But really, we can only achieve that by having really strong relationships with these children and also an understanding of them as little individuals.
All babies and children need to be loved, well-nourished, experience warmth, affection and stimulation from a kind, caring and well-informed adult. Responsive adults are closely observant, reflective and in tune with what the baby is trying to tell them, so that they can make sensitive and informed decisions around how to respond appropriately.
Within the baby room, you know, general gesturing with pointing or their body language or their eyes would show us or indicate the choice that they're making, sometimes through verbal communication depending on their stage. Also, children are very good at showing staff what they would like to do and what they wouldn't like to do, and staff are very much aware of the children's needs. For instance, Smiles this morning, you know, he investigated the treasure basket thoroughly, but looked as though he kept glancing over to the black and white area. So I moved him over because he couldn't physically take himself over and helped him to explore the black and white area, which I took up as his choice that he wanted to go there.
A lot of people think that children have got to be able to talk, to communicate, but you can tell. I mean, I've got a little girl that comes to me and she's 2. She hasn't got a lot of speech, but she can tell me exactly what she wants. She takes my hand, she leads me, she points to what she wants. If she wants a toy, she can show me where it's at. That's all communication. So although some children haven't developed a lot of words at the minute, if you listen and you look for the signs, you can build a communication with them.
Responsive care requires attentive interactions from significant adults who can interpret the child's needs, interests and dispositions, as well as understanding and supporting the child's play. In early years settings, a carefully thought out, clearly defined key person system should enable babies and young children to be responsibly cared for and to build the close one-to-one reciprocal relationships so crucially important to the development of health and well-being.
We're a very strong, motivated team. We work in room teams as well as a whole staff teams. Each member of staff is responsible for their own group of children. It's the key worker system. If a member of staff's at training or on holiday or off sick, then the room team has the responsibility of looking after that child's education.
Being a key worker is very important for me, but I think you need to be very aware that you've got other staff around about you as well, because they've got to get to bond with the children as well. For instance, like if you are off or anything, they need to know what that child as well. So we are a whole team and we work together as a whole team.
It's really, really crucial for practitioners who are working with children, babies and very young children, to really have an understanding of the needs of the child and to be able to step into what the world might actually be like for that child, so that when they're upset, there's not this business about, oh, you know, oh, with the older ones, for example, oh, you know, that didn't hurt or whatever. And maybe, you know, when they fall down and they start to cry, perhaps you do feel inside that they might be making a bit of a fuss. But we don't actually know how that fall has impacted on that child. We don't know when the baby is crying just what it feels like for them. We can only imagine what it feels like for us when we're upset. And so using that knowledge and understanding and insight, we start to put ourselves in the place of the child, so that we begin to see that it's horrible to be upset, and that what the child needs is, no matter what, is for the first of all their particular feeling to be acknowledged first. Oh, did that hurt? Oh, isn't that awful? Or, oh, you sound so upset. And then from that you can start to perhaps say, well, you know, let's go, if it's a little baby, oh, you were so upset, let me give you a cuddle, let's go and let's look at the birdies, let's give you a pat, let's do whatever. So in other words, you acknowledge the feeling, you comfort the feeling, and then what you do is to try and help the child feel better.